In this video I'm going to be showing you how to create this animation effect. As I hover over the blurred image, you can see a higher contrast image is revealed. Now there's a sort of a camera shutter effect going on here. Now these things are quite tricky to pull off. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to pull off things like this by covering how to layer elements with absolute position, use CSS filter to blur and change contrast of images, use cli-path to hide and reveal areas of an image, and apply animation by using CSS Transition. And if you want to know more about CSS Transition, you can watch my previous video, which is in the comment section. To achieve these type of effects with cli-path, we're going to be covering a layering technique where we have sort of three different layers of, and for the card, and then in the first layer we like a base layer, and the second layer will have a blurred image, and the third layer, the top layer, would have a cli-path image. Okay, so then when we apply the cli-path, it will be like a sort of a shape, as you can see here, like a circle. It's as though you're cutting out that layer, and the rest of the layer becomes invisible. So that's how we achieve cli-path effects like this. So if you like videos like this, please subscribe to my channel and let's get started. I've already got a folder called animation created already on the desktop, and I open that up in the VS Code, and as you can see I've also got an image of some skyscrapers which I'm going to be using in this demo, and I'll leave the link to this in the comment section. So to start with, I'm going to create an index.html, and then within there I'm going to create some boilerplate markup. Okay, and in the body section I'm going to have a div with class card, and then I'm going to have a span element with class info. Okay, so as you recall, I'm going to have three layers for this, and this just represents two layers, the base layer for the card and the layer for the cli-path. Now I'm going to be creating the third layer within the using a pseudo element in CSS. So I'm going to do some styling now. So I'm going to create a style tag in the head. Okay, and then to start with, I'm going to have some reset styles and set the body to flex item. Okay, so this first section is just setting everything to padding margins to 0, and I'm going to be using box sizing, so that this makes sure that we're not going to have any layout issues. Okay, so and this is just a standard flex setting. So I'm displaying as flex and justifying content and lining everything in center, and having 100 view height. Okay, so now we're going to style the card element. So before I do that, I'm going to just paste in what I'm going to be styling, so just as a guide. Okay, so I'm going to have some styling for the card, the base. So this is going to be the base card layer. Then I'm going to have the card before, which is the pseudo element, which is going to contain the background, and we're going to blur it. Okay, then we're going to have we're going to style the card info, which is the cli-path layer, and this is the card hover state. So this is what will activate the animation. So this is what we're going to be doing. So I'll start with the base card styling. So for the base card, we're going to have a height of 40 view height, and then we're going to have a border radius of 13 pixels, and then we're going to have some padding. It's going to be 2 RVM, and then we're going to have some width. It's going to be 30 view height, and then we're going to position this as relative. Okay, so that because we're going to be layering the other child elements, we need to position it absolute. So if we don't give position on the parent, then it's going to position you with a body which is going to be which is not going to look good. Okay, so now we're going to go to the pseudo element. Okay, the pseudo element, we're creating a layer for the background. Okay, so this is just a container for the background, and and we're creating it as a pseudo element. So so we're going to give it a position of absolute. Okay, so because we're going to layer it on top of the base card. Okay, so then we're going to give this a position top of 0 and left position of 0. So what this does is it sort of aligns the corner left top corner with the base card, and then we need to once it's positioned in that position, then we just make the height and width 100%, so it completely covers the parent. So I'm going to have height as 100% and width as 100%. Okay, so now we're going to create the background image. So we're going to, so it's going to be background image, and it's going to be URL, and we're going to say city pic .jpg. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to align everything so that it's centered and it fills the whole of the background. So what we need to do is give it a background size, and it's going to be cover, and then we're going to position it. We're going to position the background. So we're going to position it center. Okay, so now I'm going to run that on the live server and see what it. Okay, so nothing's appeared. So when you create a pseudo element, you also need to give it some content, because if there's no content, it won't show anything. So so the usual thing you do is you say content and colon, and just give it some empty content. Okay, that should make the image show. Okay, so we got the background image layer up and running. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to do. Now we're going to also add a blur to this as well. So using a filter property, you can do all sorts of effects. Blur, you can do blur, brightness, contrast. So these are all the effects that you can apply. So we're just going to use blur here. Okay, so in blur you need to specify how many pixels you want to blur by. So I'll just say something like 6 pixels. Again, save, and just look at that. Okay, so it's blurred it that much. So if I change it to 4 pixels, and see what that does. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so we leave it like that. Okay, then what we need now we're going to go to the card info layer. Okay, so this is the layer we're going to have the cli-path. And so because it's going to be the same format as the card, the layer for the background image, we want it layered on top of it. So to do that, we're going to use the same sort of positioning trick that we've done in the background there. So I'm just going to copy this section. So I'm going to make it the same height, width, and position it top, left, and absolute. Okay, so just copy that into there. Okay, so then what we need to do is so we're going to give it a border radius as well. Border radius of I think it was 13 pixels, and then some padding of 2 REM, and then we also have to make the color white, and also another font size of something like 2 REM. Okay, so now we're going to attach an image to this. So it's going to be a background image. Okay, so it's going to be PG. So it's going to be similar to this. It's just we're going to use the same as this. No difference. Okay, so we've applied the image. So now if we look at it, it should display the other image. So this is so we got the blur image in the behind this, and so now what's happened is we've layered this layer on top of the previous background image. So we're not seeing the background layer now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is apply the click path, and we should be able to see both of them. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to apply a filter to this layer as well. Okay, but I'm going to have a contrast. I'm going to apply a contrast to this. So what contrast does is it sort of enhances the colors so that it is more vibrant. So it takes a percentage. So if I say 200%, okay, so and that should make it sort of more vibrant. Okay, so now the colors are sort of a bit more brighter. Okay, so now we're going to do the click path. Okay, just to recap, what cli-path does is it sort of makes your layer invisible, and it will only show the part that you want to show. Okay, so to use it, you say cli-path, okay, and then cli-path. There are various functions that you can use, and usually, you know, you use select a shape. Okay, so you can specify circle, clips, and polygon. And you can also use other methods as well, specifying a sort of a custom shapes, but we won't go into that. So we're going to be using just a circle. Okay, so the way the circle works is like you specify a radius. So I'll say something like 2 rem, and then you specify the coordinates, say at 10 pixels across and 50 pixels down. Okay, so that will create an area, a circle with radius 2 rem, and then it will position it in 10 across and 50 down. Okay, so I can go to the MDM site, and it can demonstrate how to use it. So I'm on the MDM site, and it's the click path section. Okay, so as you can see here, you got click path using a circle or an ellipse, and as I click on these, it will change on the right hand side. Okay, or a polygon, so you've got a little diamond there. Okay, and the path is sort of a custom shape. So we're going to be using a circle, and in circle you can specify something like 2 rem, which is the radius, and then you say at, okay, and then you say something like 10 pixels across and 10 pixels down. Okay, so this is positioned a circle at the left corner, and it's of 2 rem radius. And as you can see, everything else becomes invisible, but apart from that little area. So if you make the radius bigger, you see more of it. Okay, so if I make it 10, and you see more of it. Okay, so you can move it down, say 30. Okay, or move it across, move it down 50. So as you can see, it's moving around. It's positioning it different areas. So the first part is the radius, and the second part is the position from the left corner. Okay, top left corner. So if I say 10 across, 10 down, it will be something like here. Okay, or here. Right. So that's how you use click path with the circle function. Okay, so going back, so I've typed in here 2 rem radius and 10 pixels across and 50 pixels down. So let's just save that and see what we have. Okay, you can see that little dot there. So just go back. Let me just make this. Okay, let me just bring the other window side by side. Okay, so we can see better here. Okay, now so I've got that little spot on the right hand side. So if I say 5 or 6, save that. Okay, so you see more of it. Okay, so if I say 10 and save, okay, you see more of it. So if I say something like 20, you should see the whole image. Okay, so if I put it to 10, see? Okay, so what you're seeing is you're seeing the click path image and that circle area. Then you're seeing then everything else becomes invisible, and you actually see the base background image layer. So that's what cli-path does. It makes it invisible, all this area invisible, and so you can see through it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to animate this. So we're going to say like go to position 0, 0, and then we're gonna sort of start off with something like 0, and then increase it to like 10. Okay, so then you see, so it's 10. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna increase from 0 to something like 20 or 30. Okay, so basically I'm gonna animate it from 0 to 30. So before we animate, I'm gonna set the radius to 0, because that's going to be our initial starting position, and then we're gonna, when we hover over the card, we're going to change the click path radius to something bigger. So as you remember, I've already put in the selector for card, on the hover state here. So so to do the animation, we're going to first in our card info, we're gonna say transition, and we're gonna say clip path, because that's the property that we're gonna be animating, and we're gonna say 3 seconds. Now, if you haven't used a transition animation, you can watch my previous video. I've done a sort of a crash course in transition animation. So you can refer to that, if you want more in-depth knowledge of using transition animation. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be animating the clip path for 3 seconds, and you can also have an ease in, ease out, a smoothing function as well. Yeah. Okay, so I'll leave that in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is when we hover over a card, we're going to change the clip path radius for our circle. Okay, so to do that, we select the pseudo class card or hover, and then we're gonna select the info span. Okay, so in here we're gonna say we're just gonna specify the clip path. Okay, and well, basically we're gonna just copy. We can just copy that. We can copy this and just change the radius for this. Okay, so I'm gonna say clip path, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna change the radius to 40. Okay, so now if I hover over it, it should animate. There you go. If I take it off, it goes back. So I can do it faster for 2 seconds. So I change the second. So on here, on the transition, if I change it to 2 seconds, it'll be faster. If I just do ease, I think it'll be a little bit faster. Okay. So normal ease is a little bit faster. Okay, so you can also have some text in there saying something like, city line. Okay. There you go. So to recap, what I've done is I've got 2 settings for the clip path, and on the actual card info layer, I've got the clip path starting with a 0 radius, which means it's virtually hidden. Okay, and then when you hover over it, the state changes. So in that state, I've specified a different clip path, and I changed the radius to 40 RVM. So because I got transition clip path 2 seconds ease, so when the clip path changes, it will animate automatically. So that's what's happening here. So you can take this a bit further and play around with it. Like for instance, I can position the circle in the center. So if I go to this clip path and I just say 50% across and 50% down, and also change it in the second clip path setting as well. So 50% across and 50% down. Okay, now it should start from the center rather than the left corner. So there you go. So you can play around with different filters and positioning and even different shapes as well. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please subscribe to my channel and join me in the next video. Thank you.